Do you guys know about bepis? Bepis? Gold caffeine-free edition? I used to drink this shit, not all the time, but somewhat regularly as a kid when my parents would actually let me have it. And oh my god, it's so fucking good. It has that Pepsi flavor, but it doesn't have the caffeine that I wasn't allowed to have as a child. You guys ever heard of gold bepis? You know, they really need to standardize caffeine-free versions of sugary sodas because caffeine makes me anxious. I hate it. Soda's high amounts of sugar, actually, so I'm not going to drink this entire can. I'm just going to drink some of it and then give it to my wife, who has no problem consuming high amounts of sugar. But caffeine is really bad for me, and I wasn't allowed to have it as a kid because I had heart issues that have now been resolved, that my parents didn't want to accidentally trigger or cause future issues with, so I wasn't allowed to have caffeine. But I loved soda growing up, and there were very few sodas that didn't have caffeine in them, so it was rare really that I got to have soda, which I think in retrospect is probably a good thing because having like high sugar drinks when you're a kid is bad, and I think the fact that I didn't have them that often as a kid is one of the reasons why I'm not super tolerant to sugar today, which is again probably good because I don't get to have diabetes. I say that like that's something that people seek out. I don't know, maybe there's like the equivalent of a bug chaser for diabetes, like a diabetes chaser. Maybe that's a thing. But I'm going to drink some of this. I haven't had Pepsi in literally years. So let's go. Damn, that's good. That's a fucking good ass taste. I swear to God, this is the best cola out there. Fight me. I don't care. All the Coke heads in the comments, they're going to be pissed. I've had this argument my entire life. I will smoke you. My dad is a lifelong Coke head, both of Coca-Cola and cocaine. And I have successfully schooled him, not in a way that he would ever admit, but I've successfully schooled him in thousands of arguments about this debate, Pepsi versus Cola. I had to take another sip. It's so fucking good. It's so refreshing. It's so tasty. It's so good. But, you know, I would buy these like crazy if they sold in this exact same variety, the gold caffeine-free version, if they sold a reduced sugar version, not a sugar-free version, because fucking Coke Zero, Pepsi Light, or whatever it's called, all that shit is trash. Aspartame is way more bad for you than they say, the health experts. There's been research done on it. The FDA has been colluding for decades to hide this information, but aspartame is actually really bad for you. So I don't fuck with Coke Zero and all that. I can't do it, you know. Artificial sweeteners are not okay. But if they sold a reduced sugar version of this, like, you know, the kind of versions that they sell in other countries that aren't super big on sugar, you know, they sell sodas, but they just don't have as much sugar in them. Like, the European versions of a lot of sodas, I'm pretty sure, have a reduced sugar content. Why not just sell that here and brand it as something else, like caffeine-free Pepsi reduced sugar version, and then you could have on the front like 50% less sugar or something. Sure, it wouldn't have this beautiful, cohesive look. Don't you love how they've kept this logo after all this time? It's amazing. I know I'm a consumer. I know I love products, but I'm from America. What can you do? I'm consumer brained. Don't you gotta love that aesthetic? It just screams out beauty to you, doesn't it? But you know, they could corrupt the logo a little bit by having that 50% less banner across it, and you'd get the Whole Foods shoppers to buy your soda. They could feel like, oh, I could sneak this every once in a while, and they'd fucking buy your soda. And of course it wouldn't be once a while, They would probably get impulsive and break their streak, something I would never do. But, you'd have a market, you'd have like a group of people who would buy your shit, and it would probably make enough money to justify actually releasing a whole new line. I don't know why they haven't done this. I'm like savoring every taste of this because I'm really not going to be able to drink this whole can. I know what sugar does to me. This has 41 grams of total sugars. Like, that's a lot of sugars, right? If I drink this whole thing, I will literally be on the verge of an anxiety attack. Like, that's how sugar affects me. If I have that much sugar at once, I'll feel like kind of icky and tired immediately after drinking it, and then a little bit after that, I'll just start to feel like crazy amounts of anxiety. So I can't do it, right? I'd much rather live in some European country or something like that where they have like the reduced amounts. But I just can't do it. And there's no fucking way I'm going to import soda. Are you insane? Like, I'm not fucking rich here, But that's what it does to me. And I read about this online. Apparently, that anxiety is a result of, like, I think it's your glucose levels going way up and then dropping like really rapidly, and it's like an insulin response or something. So there's a knock at the door. I feel like Skits is a good name for a cat. Skits the cat. That's like what I am. I'm Louis Wayne's cat, but I'm also schizo. Apparently, I was like freaking out over a knock at the door that wasn't even there. Like, there was literally nobody even at the door. It was just a kid dropping a ball outside my window, and immediately I thought someone was at the door, and I was like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck. I don't even have anything to be paranoid about. But I'm Skits the cat, so I'm paranoid about nothing. Can you imagine how cool it would be to be a cat? Like, those fucking big-ass chonkerinos, at least some of the cats I've seen are like that. The first cat I ever had was like that, actually. It was a big, chunky, thick-ass boy. Can you imagine how comfy it would be to be one of those guys? But instead, I just have existential panic and a desire to have sugary drinks that I can't have. And I drank less than half of it. I'm literally about to hand it to my wife, like, hey, please drink this. I could only have 3 sips. But hey, I have self-control, so I can actually have 3 sips and be fine with it. Unlike some of you people out there, people that I'm better than, people that I'm smarter than, people that I'm better than, people that I'm smarter than, people that I'm better than, people that I'm smarter than, people that I'm better than, people that I'm smarter than. I'm trying to think about, like, how I even first tried Pepsi. Like, what got me into it in the first place to where I had this opinion that Pepsi is better than Coke. I think the reason I tried it, even though I can't remember the exact first time, is because my grandma, more particularly my grandpa's wife, his third wife in total, was very into Pepsi. But she would generally drink the caffeine-free version as to not have any side effects with her Alzheimer's medication and the 1,000,001 medications she was on at the time. And I had first been exposed to this kind of Pepsi in that way, and of course it was, safe for me to drink as well, because again, I couldn't have caffeine. And I don't remember the exact first time, but that's how it happened for me. And ever since then, I had been hooked on the taste. But it's kind of a rare treat for me. You know, again, this is the first time I drank Pepsi in, geez, like probably over 5 years. But I documented that moment here. And God, it tastes good. But, you know, we've got to focus on the health. Keeping the health. Counter-Strike, 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 Counter-Strike. Yeah, you know what it's about. 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 Yeah, you know it's a... Holy fuck. Since I last saw you, I discovered that this exists. Diet caffeine-free Pepsi. Yes, it's real. It's got a golden top, just like the caffeine-free variant of Pepsi. And I can drink all of these all the time. Yeah, I know if you have a little bit too much of those artificial sweeteners, you get a little bit of the cancer. But, you know, it's better than getting diabetes, right? 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 I think so anyway. I want some of that. I want to try out those new fancy-fangled proprietary treatments at $1 million a pop. I want to feel it in my veins. I want to just inject that shit straight into me, especially if it uses messenger RNA. So that's what I'm doing now. You could say that I'm a healthy member of soy society.